This is episode 30 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
I'm Sam Cooper.
And I'm Chris Burnett.
A stranger from the outside.
We have a guest!
Yes, we are joined by the best of a bad bunch, King of the Burnett's, Chris.
The one who did something a long, long time ago.
The ultimate B.
Right, so this evening, guys, we've got a game for you that Chris and I have just played. I believe it's actually both of our last Tin League match.
It is. Still yet to put the score in.
It's fine, I'll do it when we finish. Or you can do it if you want, entirely up to you. But anywho, let's do a quick rundown of lists. So, as most of our regular listeners know, I've been flying a lot of 3T70 plus X for a couple of months now, and it's something I'm seriously considering taking to the Sith Taker Open at the start of February. But one thing I just wanted to have a quick look at was the sort of list I was flying during the summer and up to the Kerno Cup, which was the original McJousty before the points change, with the 3T70s Rose and Finn, and then the Kerno Cup after the points change, I changed it to 2T70s Rose and 2 Y-Wings. So I've gone back to that 5-ship resistance. So what I've brought is the Red Squadron Expert I3 generic with R68, Jessica Parva, Rose in the pod, Finn in the pod with Heroic, and then the I3 generic Y-Wing with a ion turret and targeting computer. Basically to try with the Y-Wing's ship ability to get that sort of double modded ion turret off and present, it's an extra arc, it's threats towards aces, and that sort of thing. What have you brought, Chris?
Well, I've been messing around with Dash recently, so I've brought Dash Rendar with Perceptive Copilot Jin, so crew and the Outrider title, fairly standard lightweight Dash. Then I've got Jake Farrell with vectored cannons, and then I had a point left over, so I brought Deadeye Shot. And then, just because I like using Nora Wexley in the Arc, I brought Nora Wexley in the Arc with Shield Upgrade and then Kanan Jarrus crew. I have been using Saw Gerrera with Hull Upgrade and R5, but I thought I'd try this one as an option because I'm not damaging myself, so in theory I shouldn't need the regen, and I've got the Force instead, so I've still got the double mod potential. So it was an experiment in that perspective.
It seems good. I don't think you'll get quite the damage output you would with Saw, because obviously you're changing all the eyeballs, but you're also not killing yourself, as you say, so it's a bit of a trade-off there to see which one works best.
Well, that's it. They're both the same points, so it's not like there's a points issue. It's just a build issue of what works better in a 3-ship list.
Okay, so let's have a quick chat about turn 0. Now, for me, my ideal turn 0, I've brought the 3 large rocks, and you've brought 3 debris fields. So, my ideal turn 0 is to get a large clump of the 3 rocks together and float around near there, and try and get Dash to come down that way, because obviously Dash doesn't want to be near the rocks. But realistically, that's not likely to happen. So, what were your thoughts on rock placement, Chris?
Well, I took the initiative on this game, so that I would have control over the rock placement, knowing that there was no initiative overlap. I knew I didn't want the rocks really to play anything. I didn't want to be near the rocks, or especially a clump of rocks together. So that's why I put one of the rocks in your far corner, because I thought just get the biggest one out of the way, and then I can then hopefully then get a more favourable asteroid field or debris field for then Dash to kind of run around in.
Yeah. And then, obviously I've placed one rock near that rock, so at least I've got 2 together.
Yeah.
And then we've basically got the other rock in the far opposite corner, and the debris cloud sort of creating basically an elongated X, really, with one side cut off, I suppose.
Yeah, I wasn't overly unhappy with the obstacle placement on first impressions anyway.
See, I wasn't either because during setup, obviously, I've set up all my lists before any of yours, so I've set up in the middle of the board. And my thoughts here were I can do a couple of straight maneuvers, and then I've got effectively maybe a hard turn, but realistically a bank to the left or right past the first lot of rocks, and there's quite a decent lane to get through. So depending on where you've gone, I can start angling in that direction.
Yep, absolutely.
Like normally, I probably would have set up in the far left corner, if it had been anyone but Dash, because obviously you've got to go through or around the rocks, whereas Dash just, goes where the hell he likes. So I didn't want to get caught out on one side of the board, you end up on the other, then you can get the exact engage you want. I feel like, for me, because you're moving afterwards and because Dash can do his dash things, I need to get the pressure on quickly and try and sort of herd Dash as fast as I can.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, with Dash, you have to try and control the middle ground. So
and
you're in the
yeah,
right position to do that.
That was my game plan. Was my target priority was get close to Dash if I can. I wasn't overly worried about Jake because he's a 2-dice A-wing. He's more of a support piece for Dash. Nora is an issue, but because she was on the opposite side of the board, I was hoping if I can rush in towards Dash, she wouldn't be relevant for a couple of turns.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So on the flip side, what was your sort of target priority thinking against my list?
Well, there's no good targets, really. Rose is a trap while there's other targets that trigger her ability. Finn's a trap all the way along because you don't get a lot of points for the effort it takes to kill him. Jess is a trap while there's friends around her. So really, the only two options for me that I want to try and shoot at the beginning is the Ion Control and the Red Squadron Expert, because the Red Squadron Expert, in theory, is one of the easiest targets to shoot.
Yeah.
And the Y-Wing, obviously being 1 agility, should go down easier. And the Ion Control I don't really want around if I can help it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. It's one of the things I like about this 5-ship resistance is there's no immediate target priority.
Not an easy one.
And if I lose any single one of my ships, the list isn't crippled by it.
No.
So before we get going on the game, Sam, this isn't one you've played. Do you have any thoughts on setup, obstacles from an outsider's perspective?
The small part of me is not so much on the obstacle, but I guess with the way the obstacles are, I was wondering, the way I look at it, I feel like Dash would be better off on the other side, where Nora is. I mean, because then, because basically Dash doesn't want to be near the rocks if he can avoid it, because that's the one obstacle that prevents him from doing things in the shooting phase. So, the way I look at this, Dash almost wants to be on the other side, because the way I see it currently is if you turn to avoid the resistance as they come up, your only way to turn is basically going around the corner into the 2 big rocks. Whereas if you're on the other side, the exact same thing gets you into the debris or at least an open space. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know how relevant that is.
Well, let's find out, shall we?
Yeah.
Because the way I've always seen Dash playing, or is how I imagine people want to play him, is he plays like he's playing battleships. He wants to skirt around the edge of the board and firing his proton torpedo every turn.
Yeah. I don't know.
But when I look at this, him skirting around the board, the way I imagine you would want to go, because you don't really want to go straight down into the resistance. That's just plays into what they want. So you're turning in towards Jake, and the eventual route that takes you is to the big rocks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get cracking with the game. So yeah, I do a 3 straight on the first turn and just get all of my ships up and yeah, getting them into the middle. And then you've one-harded Jake towards Dash, Chris.
Yep.
Nora's come forward and barrel rolled away towards the edge of the board.
Yep.
And then Dash has done a 4 straight past that corner rock that you have there.
Yeah. I didn't anticipate you going out so fast. I should have thought better of that, and I also flew too fast out the corner with Dash. I should have only done a 2 at maximum. So that's my first mistake, is going too fast for Dash.
Yes, it's funny because it added a bit of an interesting conundrum for me because you'd gone that fast. I was expecting a little slower, so I was expecting to be able to do probably another 3 straight to bring me in between the rock and the debris, and then turn through either way. But now I'm thinking, if I carry on going straight, Dash just does another 4 straight, and suddenly he's behind me, and then I'm in trouble. Because I've got debris in front of me further up, I can't just K-turn everyone. But then I'm also vastly aware that Dash can just one hard in if he wants, so it's kind of hard to, I suppose,
absolutely.
get arcs on both of those positions.
Yeah, it's a good dial on Dash, so it does help with having to force you to make a decision.
But yeah, no shooting turn 1, so we'll crack on through. And I do have to kind of figure the best way to, I suppose, split up my arcs, try and get the most coverage. And this is actually where having the turret shot on the wiring comes in clutch, because it does allow me to cover much more area. So I 2-hard Finn and the Y-wing. So I've got the sort of
does get the target lock.
Yeah, got the 4 straight covered. Finn takes focus. The Y-wing takes a target lock. Honestly, I didn't think it would be in, and it was by millimeters. But obviously, with the Y-wing, target locking a rock is still performing the action, so it means I can just get the calculate, which the likelihood is a calculate's enough. And yeah, in this case, it panned out that I got the lock as well. But I've covered the 4 straight. I forgot that the 2400 can do a 1 hard. So I was expecting, if you were to cut in, to come a little bit further down. And I thought you'd be in ion turret range, which covers that. But I bank the rest of the ships to sort of just give a nice wide coverage if I can. And I'm pretty reasonably sure that I've covered everywhere Dash can go with at least 1 ship.
Yeah.
Which isn't ideal. I'd obviously want multiple ships on him, but at this stage it's probably the best I can do. And I've got reasonable choices with at least half of the list to go one way or the other.
No, it's good. You've done the right thing.
So yeah, Jake comes in behind, and yeah,
this is mistake 2, because I did a 2 hard, and then I can't do the barrel roll. My original plan was to do a 1 bank boost and then do a 2 hard, but then I didn't think that would land in a position where I could make the most of that to be able to pass on, to be able to do the Jake shenanigan things and get Dash to do the double action.
Yeah.
So that is then meaning Dash has no action. Dash obviously does 1 hard. I do the barrel roll away because I don't want to be too close to all your arcs, which is then mistake 3, I think.
I'm not sure that's a mistake.
I think it was, in hindsight, looking at how the rest of it goes, because now Jake can't support him next turn.
I'm not sure a
that's
barrel
true.
roll was needed.
I should have just took the tokens and just done a
focus
evade.
evade.
Yeah, because like
Jake
because
can't
like
spot them next turn, and then
because
I'm stressed, so I can't. Even if Jake does the boost behind me now, I can't pick up the tokens. And that severely limits where Dash can go as well. The barrel roll was the wrong move.
Yeah, because I'm just looking like even if you were down there, like you still, I don't know, maybe you have a shot onto like Finn or whatever, and that's fine. But like, I don't think you're taking that much in return. Like the
No.
Y-wing front arc and Finn.
Where I was, I'd have probably got a shot at from most of the ships.
Yeah, I think without the barrel roll, you probably would have taken a shot from most of the ships, but I think the majority of them would have been 3 obstructed.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have got a shot from Finn, so
yeah, that's the thing. So I think the barrel roll was definitely a mistake because it then sets the tone for what happens next turn. Spoilers. Nora did a 2-bank. I did have a 3-bank plumbed in, but I didn't know if you'd split and then come on in. So I wanted to have it to give me options, so I could go either way. So I didn't have to spend the force. But you didn't split at all. I was kind of hoping you would hang in Nora out there.
Yeah, I don't like splitting because that's when the list gets less less effective. But as anyone watching on YouTube can see, Dash's range 3 does graze the Red Squadron Expert and then catches the Y-Wing and Finn, which means I think with the barrel roll you would have taken a shot from all of them.
From everyone, yeah.
As it is, though, because you're range 3, there's no ion turret, so it's just the Y-Wing, just the T-70 Red Squadron that you'll get a return shot from. But Dash does his 4 dice. And yeah, but and I take a shield.
So you don't spend the focus.
I didn't spend the focus. I rolled 2 evades and a focus, but I knew I had a return shot back, and I was pretty confident that Dash was in bullseye, so I'm getting at least 1 reroll. I thought at this point 1 shield is probably worth it, because if that focus is the difference between a shield or not on Dash, 1 shield on Dash is worth twice the amount as a shield on the Red Squadron. Nora rolls hot, but so Nora rolls 3 at a hand, and I roll 1 evade and 2 focuses, and this time I do spend it because that's all the shields gone. So I do think that's the right time to spend it. And then we blink through, but it's just the X-wing back who rolls 1 crit and Dash laughs. So this turn I have to split up my list to an extent because there's a debris field in front of us. So Jake,
system phase boost.
Yeah, which is very interesting for me because it kind of telegraphs what Jake's doing.
Yeah.
Because a bank's not going to fit. So you're hard turning back in. The likelihood is you're doing a 2 hard because it's blue. And you've already boosted, so I know you can only barrel roll for a reposition afterwards.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've sent the Finn and the Y-Wing around the debris field, which conveniently is heading up towards Jake. Now, I completely forgot about the Outrider ability of just going over a rock and getting rid of or going over an obstacle, and getting rid of a red token. So I was expecting a 1 straight or 1 bank from Dash. So I 3 bank the Red Squadron up and boost, trying to hope to catch a bump on the rock, which doesn't quite pan out how I wanted, but isn't unreasonable in the end. And then, yeah, Rose and Jess just sort of dart round the debris. And, yeah, you're like this one, Sam. So, Dash 3 banks past me.
But does he flip the rock?
No.
No, he does not.
So that's unfortunate.
So that's a mistake again.
So, yeah, it means Dash is sat range 1 of the Red Squadron Expert. Admittedly, I'm modded, but Dash doesn't have any multi either. It's still stressed. Yeah. No, you do. You've got a shot onto Jess.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. And that was the turn where, obviously, in normal circumstances, if I hadn't barrel rolled, Jake could have done his thing there again, and I'd have had the 2 mods before I even moved, and I'd have had so many more options on where to go. It would have opened my dial up massively. Nora comes in slow again.
So Dash goes into Jess, and I don't think does anything.
No. Nora went into Jess, but then Jess re-rolled into two evades.
Yeah, she rolled 2 blanks, re-rolled into 2 focuses and spent the focus, so takes a shield. And then Jake goes into the Y-Wing, who evades it. So I had an interesting choice here. Jess has got range 3 onto Dash. So Dash is on 3 unmodded. Or range 2 onto Nora, who's obviously got the force point. So it's like... It's 3, but it's unmodded. It's 1, but it's forced. But in the end, I go into Dash purely because I can focus a bit on Dash. And I do manage to plink a shield off. And the Red Squadron... Sorry?
Dash is the big threat.
Yeah, exactly. And worth so much that it's worth. So the 2 T-70s go in and plink 2 of the shields off. And then the Y-Wing and Rose go into Jake and don't do much. Finn has a plinky range 3 shot at Dash. Takes a strain to add a focus result to end up with 3 hits and puts another 2 through. So that's the shields down on Dash now, which makes it interesting because things like crits and stuff are going to start mattering. Right, so next turn, Jake does his system phase boost again, which nicely blocks the Y-Wing. The Red Squadron Talon rolls through a rock and loses a shield because he was parked right in front of the rock. I'd kind of gone all in on getting that block on Dash. And because Dash had gone past, it meant that I thought a 3 hard was the only maneuver that's going to not land me on the rock. I could have 4K'd, but that didn't leave me great options for the next turn. So do a 3 Talon to the right instead, which does fit. Jake, 2 bank, wasn't it, to land just in front of Finn, and then barrel rolls out and takes a focus because Jake's great. And then, yeah, Nora bumps into Jess. Dash moves, but lands range of Nora to use Kanan, so gets rid of the stress and barrels away to get the nice range shots.
Didn't really want to barrel roll again and be stuck in this loop of no mods on Dash all game.
Yeah.
I had to get further away.
But it has also left you with quite a nice easy over the debris field next turn.
Yeah. There was that
as well, so
I just knew I was still taking shots, and it wasn't going to go great.
So you go range 2 into the Red Squadron, and my greens
2 hits,
just
you natty out.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a theme.
Get 1 hit from Nora, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1 hit from Nora to take another shield. and
you evaded that one, I think.
yeah, and Jake went into Jess, and I think Jess evaded that. So I on turret into Jake with the Y-wing, but I think I just managed to plink the one shield through and no ions. Jess and the T-70s go into Dash without putting anything through. And then Finn... I should slow down for this. Finn goes in and takes a shield off Nora, I believe.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. So the end of that round, Dash is still full hull, no shields, and I've taken
quite surprised I didn't take any more damage.
Yeah.
I know you didn't have good shots, but I had no defense. So,
no. But to be honest, I think you probably deserved a decent turn on the greens. They hadn't been great up until then, so all averages out. And it's all range 3, so it's still, 3 dice. You're looking at getting at least 1 natural evade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most rolls, and 2 quite often. Yeah, I would have been hoping to plink at least another one through for the half points, but here's what it is. So now my list's starting to straggle a bit and get out, so I need to think about getting it all back together. And my first gut instinct was to gun towards Dash and try and herd Dash, but I wasn't actually sure that that's the best choice. Because Rose and the Y-wing are the stragglers, and the pod and the Y-wing don't go fast. So what I actually thought I could do here was, I didn't expect Jake to end up going where he went, but I basically turned Jess around with a 4K and then just bring all the others back in line so they're a little bit closer together and more of a jousty block that the list likes. So we'll see there. Finn just one back to get rid of the strain and takes focus. But you do the system phase rotate.
Rotate, yeah.
Which, I have to admit, surprised me. I was expecting a boost to the right.
I did consider it, but I thought it would bump.
See, it's funny, because I looked at it and thought there was just enough space to clear. And then I thought you'd just disappear off with him. But you don't. Well, I mean, I say you don't, you kind of do. But the Y-wing takes a lock onto Jake and then gets calculated. Everyone turns in and takes a focus apart from Jesse 4Ks. Jake just
go a bit further on, so I could have got the barrel roll to the left.
Yeah.
So a misposition again. Nora doesn't quite get the debris trick with Kanan.
No, I just managed to bump it with the...
Yeah, which then stuffs Nora up because it means I can't K-turn next turn, which then keeps her out of the game.
Yeah. Dash does go through the debris, but I think just about ends up with no shot. Yeah. And I know you consider barrel rolling here as opposed to taking the focus evade. And I have to admit, I think I probably would have barrel rolled. Because I think you could barrel roll enough that you at least get a shot on Finn. And you might... I'm just trying to work out if you could take it without getting shot by Jess. It's tight.
What do you barrel roll the other way?
Oh, you could. That's a good point. You could have just barrel rolled the other way.
I didn't want to barrel roll because I didn't want to get pinned in a corner. If I go barrel left, I'm in the corner where you can pounce on me. Fairly easily.
I'm not sure I could. Not from here. Not in one turn.
If I barreled left, you would have been able to.
If you...
A Jess could have two-hearted in, and you could have either four-straighted red with the Finn or three-straighted and got your mods. Dash wouldn't have had anywhere to go. I'd have been
A 3
best.
straight isn't going to get me much more than range 2 at best, maybe range 3.
In fact, if I barrel rolled, I wouldn't have been able to bank and clear my stress, so I would have been stressed still, and I'd have had to have hard turned.
Yeah, but
So, unless it's a bad option.
I think at most you'll have only got shot by Jess and Finn.
Yeah, but the stress would have stayed with me for a couple of turns. Is what I mean. If I'd gone right, that would have been bad because I'd have put myself into Jess's firing up and got closer to you. So, and
but
still
that's fair.
had a shot.
I think it means that Dash doesn't get shot.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a shot, so that's not too bad.
So it was Nora and Jake didn't do anything.
Well, yeah, Nora had no shot either, so it was just Jake.
Yep, so it's just Jake.
I keep plumbing away at Jake without anything going through. Nora adds evades, but then I get the double modded ion turret into Jake. I managed to get 3 and get the damage through and the ion, which is great because that puts Jake half points.
Oh no, that last one there was the ion, wasn't it?
No, because we'd already done that one.
Okay.
That one must have been. Hang on, I can just boop it back a little bit.
Oh no, that was it. Oh, that was into Nora, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably the. Oh yeah. No. So that was the Finn shot. So yeah, I'd got the ion onto Jake, and Jake's just up after his barrel roll is just in front of a rock that the one straight's going to put him on. Obviously, I'm assuming your plan there was a system phase boost to the left.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Which, would obviously have cleared it. But yeah, after that, Finn does a range 1 shot into Nora, rolls 3 blanks, adds a blank, heroics them all into 3 and a crit. And takes 2 shields off Nora. So this turn, like, Nora's stressed, so I know she's not 4K'ing on me. I know she can do her Kanan shenanigans to get rid of that on a white maneuver, but realistically, it means there's nowhere she's gonna go that she's pointing a front gun at me.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking a big 4-die shot. Jake's on a rock, so I know he's not shooting at me. So now's the time to start putting a bit of pressure on Dash with Jess, and I do the too hard and stay stressed, and then just move my list forward so that hopefully I can get some shots on Jake, but to set up for the next turn with Dash.
Yeah.
And I do. I go through the debris with the Y-wing, bump some various ships, but which basically leaves me 2 range 1 shots and a range 2 shot onto Jake on the rock.
Jake lands on the rock, doesn't take a damage here.
Nora does do her bank, Kanan's it, and then barrel rolls to get a nice range 1 shot into the Y-wing. And Dash does the hard turn, lands range 1 of Jess, and tokens up. So you don't go into Jess, obviously, because she's range 1, so you go into the Red Squadron Expert.
Yep.
And
true.
Yeah, I think you did the last shield and the damage, so that's half points. But then Jess shoots back. Only 1 hit, which you spend your evade token on.
Yep.
So Rose sticks 1 through onto Jake, so Jake's on 1. And then the Y-wing does the ion turret again out the side because it's got a target lock. It's small dice, and I get the 3 results, and Jake goes through. And then I managed to plink 1 through from Finn onto Dash to take him down to half points.
Yes.
So now it's quite interesting because Jake's Jake's gone, and Dash is on half. So I've got quite a healthy lead at this point. It's 83-24, and there's 25 minutes left. And I kind of feel, from my perspective, I've got a decent way of turning most of my ships to cover where Dash can go. Like, my assumption looking at that is you actually go fast and try and clear through the middle of those two rocks, like a 4 straight, and then a barrel roll further forward. I thought might bring you off the rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then even then, like, Dash is still stuck in the I'm never ever getting mods train.
Yeah. Like last turn, I think instead of staying where I was and tokening up because I was so frustrated with not tokening up all game, I think actually last turn would have benefited me doing a barrel roll to the left.
Yeah, because then you could have shot Jess.
Well, it would have given me more options this turn as well.
Yeah, and you could have shot Jess, who doesn't have re-rolls because no one's range 1, and wouldn't have had the range 1 shot back. Yeah, that's...
Whereas now I'm sat really close to your whole list, who can actually turn in quite easily because it turns slowly, easily.
Yeah.
And I've got no good options because there's rocks everywhere.
Yeah,
so I'm in the one corner of the board I didn't want to be in.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the corner I wanted you in.
And you herded me there. You did well.
So yeah, I basically stick Jess right in front of Dash, and then I turn Finn away purely because he hasn't really got a maneuver that would have got round that asteroid to get an arc on where I thought Dash was going, which was like going fast. So I hard turn him to the left to face up towards Nora. My thinking there is if Dash has turned in, that acts as a good blocker, and if not, I just get a shot onto Nora, and Finn can 3k on the next turn and carry on down that way. And then basically my plan here is just create the biggest mass, I suppose, I can, that if Nora or Dash is coming that way, it bumps. Because I think, from my perspective, you having no mods is a much bigger detriment to you than me losing one of my ship's attacks.
Yeah.
You know, I've still got hopefully 3 other ships, depending on how it works out. Normally, most of them at least singly modded, if not doubly modded.
Yeah.
So Nora, not entirely sure how, but 4 dice with a target lock into the Y-wing ends up with 1 result.
Yeah, I rolled a hit, 2 focuses in a blank, and I re-rolled into 2 focuses in a blank. So.
And then my greens being what they were this game, I just evaded it. And then obviously Dash did get blocked by Finn and has landed on the rock, so isn't shooting. And I've got a range 2 from Rose, a range 1 from the Red Squadron Expert, and a range 1 ion cannon into Dash. So I'm quite happy with that. And between the Red Squadron ends up with 4 results, and then the range 1 ion cannon ends up with 4 results, and on 2 evade dice, that's enough to get the damage through I need to on Dash. And if we're being realistic, that's game.
It was game. It was game a while ago, but yeah, that would have been game. I would have called it any other time, but because it was a stream, I thought I'd just carry on. But yeah, realistically, it was game. Nora has no escape. And she's not in a good place against 5 ships that I've hardly damaged, really, in the grand scheme of things.
No, and we won't talk through the rest of the moves at the moment. We'll leave it on for people to watch. But it's basically a case of I just keep putting ships where they can block Nora or be range 1, and Nora adds loads of evades because she does Nora stuff, but it basically just slowly plinks down the damage, I suppose, and the whole.
Nora sponged a lot of fire, but couldn't give much out. Was the moral of the story today?
Yeah,
Funnily, I positioning a lot of that. I don't think having Saw would have made much difference apart from that one turn where I took the target lock.
Yeah,
that would have been the only time. But
after the first couple of turns, I actually stopped shooting her because it was just pointless.
Yeah.
Because we were in that melee and it was range 1, and you're just adding evades. And actually, ironically, Nora was, I felt, the one ship you were rolling reasonably decent greens on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which,
she was right. Greens.
Not the way you want it, but yeah.
If she's absorbing the fire, then that's exactly how you want it. But unfortunately, you were still able to shoot Dash as well, and Jake, who both died.
So yeah, for me, I think it was the rushing into the center, combined with you just coming maybe slightly too fast at the start. It just felt like it allowed me to dictate, maybe not dictate the game, but certainly have enough space and freedom to stick the ships and stick the arcs where I needed to really cover anywhere Dash was going to go.
If I had gone slow at the beginning, would you have just done a 3 hard again? A 3 straight again?
A 3 straight. Yeah, I probably would have done one more 3 straight because I felt that the 3 straight would put me in between the 2 rocks, and then your second move would dictate whether I turn left or right.
Because in hindsight, then doing a 4 straight as my second move with Dash after doing a 2 straight would have been better. So
definitely
the first move that's messed up the whole game.
Yeah, like
make sure you know what you do.
as I said when we were talking about it, I was seriously concerned that you were just going to 4 straight and turn in behind my list, and I did my best to counter that. But if you had have done a 4 straight, I think the only shots you would have taken were the Y-wing primary, so that's 2 dice, and a Finn shot, so maybe a pseudo 3 dice. Which, okay, that's worse than what you actually took that turn, but certainly the turns afterwards you would have had much more freedom to scoot behind me. And start plinking some serious damage.
It was a good lesson in how not to do it and how easily it can go wrong.
Yeah, it's I kind of think once Dash becomes, if not predictable, but certainly reasonably predictable, or you've got a better than 50-50, if you can pin him down, he's gonna die.
Yeah. I feel like it's more like if you can force Dash to not be tokening up. Yeah. Like, the token up out of spite at the end is more of a mistake on Chris's part. Like, if you can force Dash to be like, ooh, I need to barrel roll here, or ooh, I need to barrel roll here, ooh, I need to barrel roll here, then all of a sudden, yes, his 4 dice is scary, and as long as Jake is, like, the barrel rolls are fine for Dash as long as Jake is feeding focuses, but once they're split up, you need to keep making Dash feel like he's not safe, because the Dash player is going to be well aware that Dash is expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So... But no, it was. I was gonna say. I don't want to say it's enjoyable because it probably wasn't for you.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy playing games with you.
Well, I appreciate that.
It was good because I couldn't make the last club night, so it was good. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you very much for the game. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
And yeah, I mean, there's not really too much more to say about it. We've covered it pretty well through the game. It is interesting to note, I suppose, that whether the initial 4 straight or not doing a second 4 straight was a mistake, being on the back foot at the start of the game it really can be hard sometimes to get back from that.
Yeah.
And if you can get that initial beatdown, it makes the game a lot easier. Now, obviously, that's dependent on the list you're flying. Don't fly your 3 interceptors willy-nilly into people, but sometimes delaying the engage to get the perfect engage isn't the right move. Sometimes getting an average engage to make sure your opponent has a suboptimal engage is the better way of doing it.
A reliable 60-40 is better than an unreliable 80-20.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of summing it up. Me waffle on, you spit it out. But on that pearls of wisdom, I think we should probably call it there for this week.
All right. So, am I to expect 5-ship resistance when we play tomorrow, Sean?
Some. I have another list I want to fly against you.
I do think that with 2 weeks to go, you do need to kind of zone in on something.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was talking to you about my 3 options before the game. So, luckily, 2 of those options I've played a lot of over the last 9 months. So,
this is why take a leaf out of my book. Just have a list and be like, right, this is the list for better or worse. Here we go.
Yeah, but your list is of
well, Sam.
I say your list.
This is the first time I've ever actually done it.
Yeah, but your list is obnoxious and has like 4 half arcs and constant rerolls. Actually, no, I'm not going to mock you for the constant rerolls.
I was going to say, hang on a minute, look who's talking. Oh, sorry, hold on. Jess has rerolls. Oh, hold on. Finn has heroic. Oh, hold on. This guy has a droid that lets me reroll stuff. Oh, hold on. I've got Rose who I can reroll because I'm behind my friends because I'm a coward.
All right, fine. I'm gonna eat my humble pie on that one. But the fact that you have 4,
at least I have to do actions to get my rerolls.
What you mean? Your actions that you can do like turn 1 when you're half the board away.
I was going to say, of all the things to pick on for the Separatist faction, you pick on rerolls. The one thing that you've got, literally every other broken element.
You know what's funny? I was playing Wani the Great earlier, and I actually had a moment where I was like, "Oh, my gunship takes the target lock. Oh crap, you're not in range. I'm so unused to not being in range for target locks for Separatists. This feels weird." Because he'd killed my probe droids.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not in range. I have to lock a rock. Oh, is this what it feels like?"
Poor Stephen Emmanuel.
It was
your mobile pivot fortress area.
It was
yeah.
It was Steve and Steve 2 this time, actually.
Yeah. Steve and Steve 2. Well, on Sam's mourning for his probe droid, we will wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for listening. It is always a pleasure to bring you guys these snippets into our. I keep calling it an X-Wing career. It's not an X-Wing career.
Into our X-Wing hobby. Look, you guys laugh my pro droids. Wait till I can coordinate them.
Wes, all right, move them.
A little bit.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's a waste of an action, but...
You feel like it's a waste of an action? I feel like it's a waste of an action. Will I still do it? Yes. If I can arc dodge you with a probe droid, you're going to feel real stupid.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Sam. That is going to be the title of this episode. If you get arc dodged by a probe droid, you're going to feel stupid. Right, guys, on that note, we really will wrap it up. So I will just say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Au revoir.